Part 72. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 711. Lu Ligan went downstairs, crossed the basketball court, arrived at the house opposite, went upstairs and walked to the door of his office on the third floor. He saw a middle-aged man and a young man sitting on the wooden sofa. Lu Ligan saw the rod came in and both men stood up. Fan Jiangguo didn't need an introduction, he knew that these two people should be from the housing authority. Lu Ligan hurried over and stretched out his hand to them. Lu Ligan said, "Hello, my surname is Lu. I don't know that the two leaders are coming here, so they are not welcome from afar." The middle-aged people introduced themselves and said that they were from the housing authority and were not leaders. They came just because they had seen your company's advertisement earlier and came to understand the situation. Lu Ligan quickly said that we are a newly established company and we don't know anything, so we need strong guidance from our leaders. He saw that the middle-aged man wanted to correct himself that he was not a leader. Lu Ligan insisted, "In my opinion, you are leaders. You have a comprehensive grasp of policies, strong implementation of policies, and are serious and responsible. When you see an advertisement, you will know our company when we may encounter difficulties, he will take the initiative to help us solve our problems. Being so far-sighted is not what a leader is." The two men smiled and no longer insisted that they were not leaders. When he was in Haikan, Meng Ping once taught Lu Ligan the secret of dealing with people from relevant departments. Meng Ping said that when these people come out, they always have a posture of guiding others. Of course, when they see leaders, and always accept everything with an open mind, so when getting along with them, your first priority is not to appear smarter than them. "That's just pretending to be stupid," Lu Ligan said. "That's right, don't think it's easy to pretend to be stupid. It's difficult to pretend to be stupid without showing any traces so that people can't tell you are pretending to be stupid," Meng Ping said. "When people face people with lower intelligence than themselves, will naturally produce a psychological advantage, which in turn will give him a natural tolerance and sympathy. Who would argue with a fool, and will only laugh at a silly person? So when you don't know what to do, it's always right to act stupid. If you look at every unit, smart people rarely have friends. Those who are a little stupid are often very popular." After the three people sat down again, the other party told Lu Ligan that he would like to ask Mr. Lu to introduce the situation of your project. Lu Ligan shouted, "Boss, please don't laugh at me. Mr. Lu, I feel like my nose is bruised and my face is swollen." The other party smiled and said, "Oh, what's wrong? I was in our hometown, in front of and behind my house, and wherever I saw free space, I built whatever I wanted and as high as I wanted. I didn't expect that it would be so difficult to build a house in Hangzhou. This won't work, and that won't work either." The middle-aged man said, "It's not that this or that won't work, it's that everything must be done according to the process. After approval, you can still build the house smoothly." Yes, what the leader said makes sense. I feel relieved when you say so. But it is the approval you mentioned that is so hard to kill. How do we know which unit to go to get stamped when building a house? There are many units. I haven't even heard of it." The middle-aged man frowned, and Lu Ligan stopped immediately. He felt that he was pretending a little too much, and he might be in trouble next time. "You don't know anything, so how do you know how to get a business license? Obtaining a business license is not a simple process." Lu Ligan did not continue. The young man decided to help Lu Li check it out. He asked, "We know that the place where you want to do this project belongs to Yiming Food Factory." "It's theirs," Lu Ligan nodded. He took out the agreement to cooperate with Yiming Food Factory to develop the splendid home project and showed it to them. They read it and confirmed that there was no problem with it. Lu Ligan and Yiming Food Factory signed a cooperative development agreement, so on the surface, Yiming Food Factory is also the developer of Splendid Home, and there is no need to transfer or change the ownership of this land. It's just that they also have an agreement that is not open to the public, stipulating the responsibilities and rights of both parties, and that is the truest expression of their wishes. But that agreement does not conflict with this agreement. This agreement only superficially confirms the cooperative development, while that agreement determines the specific operational details of both parties, as well as risk-sharing responsibilities and benefit ownership. Then this agreement only involves both of them and can be resolved face-to-face. At that time, the state's management of land and even real estate, various policies were vague or even lacking. For example, the state did not explicitly prohibit this form of cooperative development, and everyone was at the stage of crossing the river by feeling the stones. "Has your construction permit been obtained?" the middle-aged man asked. "No, the project hasn't started yet. We will definitely wait for the construction permit to be obtained before starting construction," Luligan said. "But when we came here, we saw that a construction team had already entered the site," the young man said. "Yes, aren't we ready to do this project? They have entered the site and are demolishing the old house. When the demolition is completed, they will stop and wait for the time to start construction." "That's right. If two people think about it, if people are demolishing old houses now, they really don't need approval. The construction permit does not include demolition." "Boss, I need to apply for a construction permit here. What procedures are required?" Luligan started to pretend to be stupid again. The middle-aged man waved his hand and told him that we are not responsible for construction permits here, we are responsible for issuing real estate certificates. "Oh, boss, what should we do if we have to go to your place to apply for a real estate certificate?" "I'll do it right away," Luligan said. The two of them couldn't help it anymore and both laughed. The young man said to Luligan, "What kind of real estate certificate are you applying for now?" "This real estate certificate can only be applied for after your house is built and passed the inspection. It is still early." When the young man said this, he was stunned for a moment. "Since it's still early, what are you doing here?" The middle-aged man took out today's Hang Cheng Daily from his bag, spread it out on the coffee table, and asked, "What do you mean?" "The construction permit has not been received yet, and the project has not started yet." "What will happen the day after tomorrow? Has the house started to sell?" Luligan smiled and said, "How is it possible? The people who came here are not fools. The ground is bare and there is nothing. How can they buy it? Here, leaders, take a look. This is the subscription agreement we are going to sign with them." Luligan took out a subscription agreement, pointed to one of the items and said, "Did you see it? It's clearly written here. 30% of the first phase of the house is paid when the foundation of the project starts. We have all started laying the foundation. All the procedures must be complete. The person who laid the foundation must have when we started paying the house payment. We also asked experts, and the experts said it was okay, otherwise we would not have dared to write this." The two of them felt that what Luligan said was correct. What he said was that payment would start when the foundation was laid. The country currently has no specific regulations on when pre-sales and sales of new houses can begin. People lay the foundation. When he arrived, all the procedures must have been completed. He started to ask for part of the house payment at that time, and he did not violate the regulations. What's more, this is a matter under construction, and they don't know whether they can manage it themselves. The young man asked, "You said you didn't start selling it the day after tomorrow. What do you mean by this off-plan property?" Luligan laughed and said, "These are all names randomly chosen by experts. Why it is called this, I don't know. It probably sounds nice. But I understand the meaning." Luligan repeated the rhetoric he told the director of the advertising department of Hang Cheng Daily that day. "Actually, this is just to pay a deposit. Let the leaders think about it, this house is so expensive. Where do we dare to build a lot at once? Even if we dare to build, we don't have that much money." The expert helped us think of a way. He said that we can sell off the planned properties first, that is, first see how many people want this house and how many people have paid deposits. Then we will build as many houses as possible. In this way, we will build as many houses as possible. After you get up, you won't be empty there. When we thought about it, yes, if you go out to buy something, and they don't have it, but you want it, and they buy it, but they're afraid that you won't want it, then you're not required to place an order and pay a deposit, right? You need to pay a deposit to buy a piece of clothing or a refrigerator. But for something as expensive as a house, it's not too much to pay a deposit, right? By the way, leader, you don't need approval for this, right? There are no national regulations that say you can pay a deposit for anything else, but you don't need to pay a deposit for a house, right? The two people looked at each other. In this regard, there is indeed no rule that states that deposits are not allowed in house sales, let alone that it requires prior approval, and there is no management authority given to them. Since people explain off-the-plan properties this way, this off-the-plan property sounds very reasonable. Both of them were a little confused. When they saw the newspaper in the morning, they felt that there was something wrong with this and they had to come over and take a look. But when they got here, it seemed that there was no problem. What they were doing now was completely wrong. It is not within the scope of my jurisdiction, and if I continue to pursue it, I will become a little deliberately looking for trouble. The two of them stared at the advertisement, still feeling strange, but they didn't see what was strange. Luligan said to them sincerely, "Two leaders, please see if we have any deficiencies and if there are any procedures that need to be completed. If so, I will do it right away." The two of them looked at each other again and felt that there was nothing we could do about this matter. Even if you came, we wouldn't know what procedures we should ask you to complete. The middle-aged man stood up and said, "Okay, let's stop here today. We are here. We have no other intention. We just want to understand the situation. Please excuse us." "Look at what the leader said, how can you say this is disturbing?" Luligan said quickly, "You are here to inspect our work and help us work, but we can't even invite you." The two of them smiled awkwardly. No, since the two leaders are here today, I can't let you go. I must find an opportunity to ask you many questions specifically." "You can't think it's troublesome for me," Luligan said. When the words reach this level, the middle-aged people can't stand it anymore. They can only say, "Okay, if you have anything to do in the future, come to us." Luligan took out his business card to them and took his address book, making sure to let them leave their names and contact information. "You've asked people to come to you if they have something to do. If you don't stay, how can they come to you?" Both men wrote their names and office phone numbers in the address book. In the afternoon, Luligan made a phone call and asked them to have dinner at Zhongshenji in the evening. He had no other intention. He just had many questions that he didn't understand and wanted to ask for advice in person. The two of them had just been to Luligan's company and knew that he really didn't have anything to ask of them, so they didn't feel wary and agreed. In Luligan, he felt that this was another bait, and he would apply for a real estate certificate in the future, but here, the stupidest thing in the world is to go to the house when you need it, and only think of paying for it after you get on the bus. At 5 o'clock in the evening, Luligan took Wenwen and Qian to Zhongshenji. "Thank you book friend 201701201935244134 for the reward. Thank you Pai Wuzun for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 712. Thanks for world peace, thanks for the prosperity of the country and the people's safety. On Saturday, there was no press release from Xinhua News Agency. Luligan's second full-page advertisement on the front page was published in Hangcheng Daily. 2 full front pages in a row made this matter the focus of the news. TV, newspapers, and radio in Hangzhou were all discussing this matter. A professor from the journalism department of Hangzhou University said on TV, "I think the smartest person in this incident and the one with the greatest profit is the company that placed this advertisement. Look, all of us have been discussing this matter here for the past 2 days. Have we invisibly amplified the effect of this advertisement countless times? He placed a media, and the price seems to be higher than the average full-page advertisement, but now it has changed. It has become a news event, and other media are advertising it for free. You think, isn't this the smartest company?" A reporter has already found this smartest company and found that the venue they were preparing to sell off the planned property the next day was beautifully decorated. Immediately, this news quickly attracted the attention of various media, and many people went to Ma Cheng. "I looked at the road and found that houses were being demolished here. It seemed that the splendid home was just around the corner." The scope of the discussion continued to expand, and everyone seemed to have noticed that the design of this splendid home community is very beautiful, with a high greening rate. It can be said that it is more beautiful than all existing communities in Hangzhou, and its geographical location is really its great. Not only is it very close to Woolen Square, but it's also right next to Hangzhou University. If you have children at home, they go to Baokyuda Primary School. Soon, the house itself became a hot spot. The effect of the advertisement was so good. Lu Ligan had thought that this was the reason why he devoted all his money to put a full-page advertisement on the front page, but he still did not expect that the influence would be so great. The professor was right. Now the whole city, all the media are paying attention to this matter and this community. He has placed advertisements in all media. In addition to having fun, Lu Ligan also felt that he needed to be cautious at this time. There will definitely be a lot of reporters coming to the scene tomorrow to see them selling off the planned properties. If a lot of people come tomorrow, the popularity of their community will explode in one day. Lu Ligan feels that the prices of the next 7 houses and storefront houses will be adjusted. It won't be a problem. But if no one comes tomorrow, it will be the same. This community and real estate will stink overnight. The higher you climb today, the harder you will fall tomorrow. You continue to climb, the higher you climb, the worse it falls. Old Tang and a Yang also came. Old Tang said, "I don't know if I can afford a house yet, but whatever, I'll buy an off-the-plan property tomorrow." Lu Ligan quickly said, "Yes, if it doesn't work, I will refund you the money for the off-plan purchase." Lu Ligan said this, and Yang felt confident. He said, "I will also buy 2. I will buy one myself, and let my old man buy one too, to increase the popularity." Lu Ligan said, "Okay. I'll buy 2 too," He Hongmei said. Lu Ligan said, "Okay, thank you for your help. If it doesn't work, I will refund it to you. If it works, you can sell it when you see money to be made." "Can you still make money from this thing?" Old Tang didn't understand. Lu Ligan said, "Of course, the most attractive thing about off-the-plan properties is not the off-the-plan properties themselves, but that, like stock futures, they also have the properties of financial derivatives. You have seen stocks being speculated, but you have not seen people from Hong Kong and Hainan speculating in stocks. Off-the-plan properties, in fact, speculating on off-the-plan properties is the most exciting." Lu Ligan told them a few stories about Hainan real estate speculation. After hearing this, Old Tang shouted, "Okay, then I will buy 2 more. Isn't that just an extra 10,000 yuan? I still need support, and in this case, I need support even more. Only with support can I guarantee that tomorrow's scene will not be ugly, and that I will not die so miserably under the eyes of so many media. Don't worry, I've organized everything." "Did you do well last time with your Westlake 10 treasures?" He Hongmei asked. "Beautiful, big and beautiful, but this time it's different." "Why is it different?" "Last time it was unnoticed, but this time it's in full public view." There will be a lot of reporters tomorrow. They might even track people who buy off the plan properties. If they find out that they are swindling, it will be over, Lou said the Pole. It doesn't matter. Let them buy it with 5,000 each. So what if they catch you? It's normal for people from our company to buy your house. Didn't we all buy it ourselves, Zhang Chen said. Yes, I told them that no matter who asked them anything, just insist that they bought it themselves, He Hongmei also said. If there are many people, don't show up. One more thing is worse than one less thing, Lu Ligan and He Hongmei said. I know, why are you such a mother-in-law? Do you think I'm stupid? He Hongmei scolded. Lu Ligan laughed. He also felt that his mother-in-law was nervous. When he was nervous, he would become a mother-in-law, and no one would have shortcomings. Zhang Chen asked the security guards on Stadium Road to come to work tomorrow, and also asked Lao Wan and others to help maintain order. It will be fine if they are needed to maintain order, Lu Ligan said with a smile. The sales started at 9 o'clock the next day. At about 8 o'clock, Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan and Xiao Zhao arrived at Stadium Road and were shocked. There were already more than 100 people here. Zhang Chen saw so many people and shouted to Lu Lizang, "It's done, Zanzi, don't worry today." Lu Ligan said suspiciously, "Are these all reporters? With so many reporters, do you think you are opening the Olympics?" Zhang Chen scolded, and Lu Ligan thought about it, and he thought so. They got out of the car, and Wu Zayawai told them that I would also like to buy 4 off-the-plan properties later. Lu Ligan asked, "Did He Hongmei arrange it for you?" "No, we are going to start a business and money is tight." Wei Venfang asked me to buy 4, Wu Zayawai said. "You're so damn worried about buying it when you're short of money," Lu Ligan scolded. Wei Venfang said that this off-plan property will definitely make money. "I don't care if you pay for it. I never thought I'd ask you to take care of it." Lu Ligan felt speechless. Someone called them. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan turned around and found that it was a Yang. Behind a Yang were 4 other people. He said they were all his friends. He went back yesterday and had Yelaoju in the evening. He told them about the speculation in off-the-plan real estate. Well, they thought this was a good opportunity, so they came. Lu Ligan quickly said, "This is risky." I know, do you know what these lures do?" a Yang said. "What are you doing?" Lu Ligan asked. "Scalpers, they speculate on everything, including US dollars, treasury bills, train tickets, and movie tickets. They have never speculated on off-the-plan properties. I told them that they think this is more profitable. I made it clear that I will be responsible for any losses," a Yang explained. The 4 people, behind a Yang, kept nodding. Wei Venfang came over and said, "Mr. Lu, start queuing first and issue numbers. I'm worried that there will be too many people waiting." Indeed, while they were talking, people kept coming in from the door on bicycles, and half of the bicycles were already parked on the basketball court. Lu Ligan said yes. After the scene was chaotic for a while, it settled down. Those who bought off-the-plan properties had already lined up. Several reporters also lined up after taking photos. Seeing this situation, Lu Ligan and He Hongmei said, "Evacuate all your people. It seems that they are no longer needed." He Hongmei said yes and walked over to talk to them. After a while, Kaidi ran over and said, "What if I really want to buy it?" "You might lose money," pig, Lu Ligan cursed. I know, I might make some money," Kaidi said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Then you can wait in line. Who can stop you?" As soon as Kaidi heard this, she ran over. Xiao Zhao smiled and said, "It looks like we don't need to buy it." "Don't buy it, let them buy it," Zhang Chen said, "but we still want the house. Let's just pay for it." "Which one is it? This time or next time, you can arrange the polls." Xiao Zhao said, "Yes, I will give the house payment to Zhao Jingjing later." Why are you in such a hurry? Lu Li asked curiously. Xiao Zhao chuckled, I'm afraid you'll raise our price. 342 off-the-plan properties were sold out in one morning. In the afternoon, people continued to come. When they knew that the off-plan properties here had been sold out and there would be no more for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, some people on the scene began to increase the price, to 5,000 in the morning. One off-the-plan property quickly turned into 7,000 in the afternoon. The few scalpers who followed Yang immediately sold their off-the-plan properties. Each of them actually bought 10 of them. They felt that the money was damn better than speculating. But in the evening, they regretted it again, because the price of off-the-plan properties had already reached 8,000, and two people were so cruel that they bought two more. They judged that the price would still rise tomorrow. When Wu Zhaowei saw that the price had increased to 8,000 yuan a car, Wu Zhaowei couldn't sit still and wanted to sell it. Wei Venfang said to him, why are you so anxious? If the price has not increased to 5,000 yuan a car, don't sell it. Our disabled car will be sold this time, they must be earned back. Wu Zhaowei was unwilling, but he still said oh. Lao Tang, who had 7,050 apiece, sold all three off-the-plan properties and came over happily, making sure to treat them to mutton chops. Everyone looked again and found that Lu Ligan had gone somewhere. He Hungmei shouted, I saw him just now, he probably went to the bathroom. I don't care about Old Tang, I want to eat 3 lamb kidneys today. Old Tang chuckled, okay, no problem. If the boss doesn't have it, I'll pick it off and give it to you. No, that's not lamb kidney, it's pork kidney. It's so stinky, he Hungmei scolded, and everyone laughed. Zhang Chen went downstairs alone and walked to the restaurant to take a look. He found that Lao Wan and the others had demolished everything and restored the restaurant to its original appearance, but there were still some things in the small garden at the door. Needless to say, these people were also speculating on real estate properties. This situation lasted for more than half a month. Zhang Chen walked past the basketball court and walked to the third floor opposite. He walked to the door of Lu Ligan's company and pushed it. The door was ajar and there were no lights in the room. Outside the window here was the effect wall of their dynamic zone. When the lights were turned on, the room was dark. Zhang Chen saw Lu Ligan sitting alone at the table. Zhang Chen walked over and sat down opposite him. Lu Ligan turned his head away, and Zhang Chen saw tears flashing in his eyes. It seems that my judgment is correct. It's not that there is no market for real estate in Hangzhou, but that the market has not yet been activated, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen nodded and said, let's go. Old Tang has earned 7,500 yuan. He wants to treat him to mutton chops. He will eat all the money he earned in the evening. Lu Ligan agreed that after eating it, he would not return until he was drunk. The two people stood up, and Lu Ligan suddenly said, Zhang Chen, I want to see Meng Ping. Zhang Chen was startled. Lu Ligan had been back for more than a month, but he had never mentioned visiting Meng Ping. Zhang Chen still felt strange and it was hard to ask. It turned out that he was waiting for this day. Okay, I'll call to make arrangements, Zhang Chen said. Thank you for your monthly ticket for Sweet Dreams to keep people sleeping. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 713. Lu Ligan earned 1.71 million from selling off-the-plan properties. The next day, Lu Ligan gave Zhang Mushin a deposit of 1.2 million yuan. Zhang Mushin asked Lu Ligan, where can he start working? Lu Ligan told him that the construction permit had not been obtained yet. Zhang Mushin said that it did not matter. I am familiar with the Urban Construction Bureau and they are all in the same system. It will be done as you go. I will take you to do it. By the way, can your friend draw construction drawings? If he can, let him help with it. If not, I'll find someone to do it for you, Zhang Mushin said. On the 6 floors, although we can do it with our eyes closed, it's still get one, you'll need it to get the permit too. Zhang Chen is good at making construction drawings. Lu Ligan's Wanghai building project in Haikan was seen painted by Zhang Chen. Moreover, this is indeed what Zhang Mushin said. The internal structure of the 6-story residential house is not much complicated, and there is not even an elevator. One staircase leads to 2 doors, no drawings, the construction company can do it based on experience. But painting this was too time-consuming, so Lu Ligan didn't even ask, so he just told Zhang Mushin, help me find someone to do it. By the way, hold on tight over Xiaosha. Once the construction is done over there, we can move it here, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Mushin said that we should start working together. The factory building is simple and the speed will definitely be faster than that of residential buildings. You can work here on the foundation of the old house first. You won't sell the back there anyway. You can wait until they move there. Lu Ligan said yes. Lu Ligan asked Wen Wen and Qian to take leave, take the company's information, and go through various procedures with Zhang Mushin. Zhang Mushin was eager, and he said okay, these 2 beauties will follow me. As long as you want, I will when I ask you to come forward to invite me to dinner, just show your face. Wen Wen and Qian initially went to school to ask for leave, but later they didn't even bother to ask for leave and worked in the company every day. Going to school in this school is so boring. How can it be so interesting to play and sing every night? Besides, isn't school just for a good job? They already have a good job and their income is higher than their teachers and senior brothers and sisters who have graduated. What does it matter if it doesn't go up? Lu Ligan never said that they needed a diploma. Lu Ligan simply rented an empty room upstairs from Zhang Chen and others and used it as a dormitory for them. As for other errands in the company, leave it to Fan Jiangguo. Fan Jiangguo is a local, so it is convenient to do these. Xiao Zhao transferred the payment for 3 houses, 191,100 yuan, to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan took the money and immediately bought a Santana. The price was exactly 190,000. 0800 yuan. After getting the license plate, I still need another 100 yuan. Zhang Chen laughed at him, you are driving 3 houses on the street. Lu Ligan said, of course, my car is worth a fortune, and my entire company is on it. It's true, after getting this car, Lu Ligan put all the company's certificates, official seals, etc. in the trunk. When he opened the trunk, there were piles of file bags inside, including ink pads, paper, pens, and glue. From staplers, paper clips, pins, and calculators, almost all office supplies are available. Why didn't I realize before that this car has such great uses, Lu Ligan said. That car you used to have was just for showing off, Zhang Chen scolded. Lu Ligan basically drove around every day, taking Wen Wen and Qian around, leaving Fan Jiangguo behind in the office. After buying a mobile phone, he didn't have to go to the office to make phone calls. He stayed in the car longer. Even if he wanted to explain something to Fan Jiangguo, he would call Fan Jiangguo downstairs and the 2 of them would sit in the car. Li said. If you want to write anything, just get out of the car and stand next to the car, put it on the hood and write. The shade of trees at the head of the small garden has now become Lu Ligan's special parking space. As long as Zhang Chen sees the car parked there and walks over, he will definitely see Lu Ligan inside, not with Fan Jiangguo. He was talking and resting in the car. He tilted the driver's seat down a little and tilted his head to one side. Behind him, Wen Wen and Qian, one on each side, leaned from the middle to the doors on both sides. Zhang Chen walked over and knocked on the car window, and 3 sleepy heads stood up in the car. Wen Wen and Qian saw it was Zhang Chen, smiled, and immediately fell down again. Lu Li rolled down the window, the two of them chatted in the car and outside. Zhang Chen cursed, "You should go to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to change your business license and change the company address on it to your license plate number." Lu Ligan laughed and said seriously, "I will ask next time if it can be changed like this. We have contacted Nanjing. We will leave at midnight today and arrive in Nanjing in the morning," Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said. Lu Ligan said, "Yes, can you open my office?" "Of course, He Hongmei's car is too small," Zhang Chen said. After having a late-night snack in the factory that night, the four of them hugged Zhang Xiangbei and prepared to set off. He Hongmei got in the car and shouted, "Why does your car smell so bad? I really can't speak." "Is this because of my makeup look?" Lu Ligan said. "That Wenwen of yours is still singing Shaoxing opera in the car," Xiao Zhao asked. "You really sing?" "My car is filled with singing every day," Lu Ligan said with a smile. "Then you should let Jian dance on the hua," Zhang Chen said. "Skip, really Skip, she drank too much that day, so she ran up and jumped by herself," Lu Ligan said with a smile. "It's really misleading," He Hongmei scolded. "If they miss class every day like this, they will be expelled one day. Just fire them. I don't dislike them. If they are fired, I will give them a salary increase." He Hongmei quickly raised her hands and made a cross gesture, "Shut up, I am speechless to you." The four of them hit the road and arrived in Nanjing at around 7 o'clock. He Hongmei and Zhang Chen said they could make that precious phone call. Zhang Chen said, "It's too early now. We can't enter the prison until 9 o'clock. He made an appointment with Li Yang and they met directly at the gate of Lohukiao prison at 9 o'clock. "Then if you beat him at 9 o'clock, this guy won't arrive until about 11 o'clock," He Hongmei said. Although the three of them knew that what He Hongmei said was true, it was indeed too much to rush them now after meeting at 9 o'clock. The three of them looked at each other, and there was no better way. Lu Ligan drove the car and asked without looking back, "Holy shit, what type of animal did you encounter? A weirder person than you." He Hongmei rolled her eyes at him. "Or, let's go eat skin belly noodles," Xiao Zhao said. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei both agreed, and Zhang Chen gave instructions and taught Lu Lipol how to move. After the four of them finished eating the noodles, at 8 o'clock, Zhang Chen went to the roadside public phone and called Li Yang's house. After the phone rang for a long time, a lazy voice rang, "Hello." Zhang Chen told him, "Li Yang, we have arrived at Tiger Bridge." Li Yang said yes and the horse will be there soon. They got in the car and drove for 10 minutes to Lohukiao. After getting off the car, Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei hurried to the shops across from Lohukiao and searched one by one. Zhang Chen knew that they were looking for Qianfang and the others. Lu Ligan held Zhang Xiangbei in the car. Zhang Chen got off the car and found a public phone. He called Li Yang again and said hello in the same lazy voice. When he heard it was Zhang Chen, he quickly said he would be there soon. And hung up the phone. Zhang Chen walked back to the car. After a while, Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei walked back dejectedly. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen shook their heads and said no, none of the shops here were owned by Qianfang and the others. "It doesn't matter, I'll see Meng Ping later. This time, he should have Qianfang's contact information." Zhang Chen said that Xiao Zhao made sense when he heard it. More than a month had passed and Qianfang and the others must have visited Lao Meng again. This time, Lao Meng would leave their contact information. They waited until 9 o'clock, but still didn't see Li Yang's shadow. Zhang Chen called, and Li Yang's voice became more sober, telling him as if announcing a big news, wash your face, and he will be there soon." Zhang Chen walked back. Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei looked at him and smiled. He Hongmei asked, "Are you coming soon again?" Zhang Chen smiled bitterly and nodded. "Then it will take several hours," He Hongmei said. Xiao Zhao thought for a while, then walked to the public phone and dialed Su Li's store. Su Li had already arrived at the store. Xiao Zhao told her that we had arrived at Tiger Bridge. Before Xiao Zhao said the next words, Su Li shouted, "Okay, Xiao Zhao, I'll push that little pole right away." Next thing they knew, Su Li would definitely call Li Yang within 4 or 5 minutes. By 9:40, the four of them were exhausted from waiting. When they were dejected, a taxi stopped in front of them. Li Yang got out of the car, without any apology on his face, but immediately waved to them. He motioned for them to leave quickly, as if he had been waiting for them and finally arrived. He saw Lu Ligan getting out of the car. He had never met him last time and his mind was very clear. He immediately asked Zhang Chen, was he Lu Ligan? It was rare for him to remember all the names so clearly. Zhang Chen said yes and quickly introduced them to each other. All the procedures were the same as last time. They arrived at the warden's office. After a while, someone brought Meng Ping over. Meng Ping saw Lu Ligan and smiled and said, "Bring me here, I knew you were here." The prison guard opened the handcuffs, and Meng Ping quickly said thank you. This time it was the warden who stood up and told Li Yang, "Erhu, go do it." The two men walked out. As soon as they walked out, Meng Ping told Zhang Chen, "This friend is very powerful. My assessment scores are higher than others now. It seems that I won't be able to stay here for that long." The regulations in the prison at that time were that after serving more than half of the sentence, you could apply for a commutation of your sentence. The basis for the commutation was based on your monthly assessment scores. 25 points would reduce your sentence by 1 month. Meng Ping, for example, could get a maximum reduction of 6 months, which is 1 month. You can get it out in half a year, and your monthly assessment scores are higher than others, which means that if you save now, you can get it in 6 months. Zhang Chen remembered something and asked, "Did they tell you when the pole came back?" Meng Ping nodded and said, "He told me a long time ago." This guy looks lazy. It seems like he won't be delayed at all in what he promised to do, Zhang Chen said with a smile. That's for sure, otherwise no one would recognize him as a buddy, Meng Ping said with a smile. It looks like he's still a master, Lu Ligan also said. Xiao Zhao asked Meng Ping, "Had Qian Fang and the others been here?" Meng Ping shook his head and said, "No one has ever been here, but Ye Yulan is paying me my salary every month." "How do you pay your salary?" Xiao Zhao asked curiously. "When we were in Haikan, we always paid wages on the 15th of every month. I received the card on time on the 15th of this month. This tells me that it is not convenient for them to come, but the company is still there, so I'm relieved." Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen both nodded. Next, it was time for Meng Ping and Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan talked to Meng Ping about how he operated the current project and how to proceed step by step. Meng Ping laughed and commented from time to time. Rod discussed whether it would be better if he did it that way. When he was happy, both of them jumped up, just like two children. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao looked on and thought it was funny. There are some crazy people in this world. These two people can be said to be real estate crazy people or money-making crazy people. When it comes to making money, everything else can be forgotten. An hour later, Li Yang walked in, made a sign of 10 to them, and walked out again. Meng Ping sighed, "Oh, it looks like Hangzhou is getting up. I think Nanjing and Wuxi will be up soon. I wonder if I won't be able to catch the evening train when I leave." "No, Lao Meng, humans have been doing this real estate business for thousands of years, and I don't care about your year and a half," Lu Ligan comforted him. Meng Ping nodded. When they got out of prison, Zhang Chen invited Li Yang to eat with them. Li Yang said, "No, I have already agreed to eat with them." Zhang Chen understood. He even suspected that this guy, who didn't arrive until almost 10 o'clock, was just planning to come over and have dinner with them. Thank you to Laughing and Running Y for the tip. Thank you to Xiaobian Ziebao and Pai Wu Sun for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 714. When the price of off-the-plan apartments in Splendid Home rose to 10,000 per unit, Wu Zaiyi sold all 4 of his off-the-plan apartments. After selling, the price continued to rise the next day, and he regretted it again. Wei Venfang looked at him and scolded him. Road. The off-plan property has been sold, and this matter is over. Why do you still want it? It's rising again. I just went to the grove behind to see it, and it's rising again today, Wu Zaiyi said. Wei Venfang said calmly, you are not allowed to go there. It has nothing to do with us. What fools you are. We are not gods. We cannot know where its lowest point is or where its highest point is. As long as it reaches or if we sell according to the expectations, we are successful, do you understand? Wu Zaiyi shook his head, I don't understand, I just think I can make more if I sell it today. Wei Venfang looked at him and smiled, you regret selling early yesterday. Why don't you regret that we didn't spend all the money to buy off the plan property? Wouldn't we be able to earn more that way? Wu Zaiyi was stunned for a moment and shouted, ah, you didn't tell me that I hadn't thought of it yet, but when you said it, it's true. It would have been great if we had bought a few more. Then if we had spent all the money to buy it, would you regret it now because you didn't ask your relatives and friends to borrow money to buy it? If you had borrowed money to buy it, you would have made more money. Wu Zaiyi was stunned. Yes, of course he could earn more that way. Why would this regret be endless? Wei Venfang smiled and said to Wu Zaiyi, don't think about it. Life is not a gamble. You can't put all your money into it. That may not only lose you everything in one go, but may also tie up your whole life. When I gave you 20,000 yuan and asked you to buy 4 off-the-plan properties, I judged that 90% of the off-plan properties would go up in value. I didn't use all the money to buy them. That's because if we lost the 20,000 yuan, our lives would be ruined. It will be a little harder, but we can still start a business according to our goals. If we lose, we won't lose everything at once. Do you understand? For example, now, I still judge that the house in this splendid home will definitely rise to 2,300 or 3,000 in the future. So should we use the money we prepare to start a business to buy a house and wait for the price to increase? Of course, but in this case, we have to put away our dream of starting our own business and continue to work obediently. In this way, what if the house does not increase? Does that mean that our dream of getting rich is shattered, and our dream of starting a business is also shattered? Then we will lose miserably. If the business fails and all the money is spent, it won't be as miserable, Wu Zaiyi said. Yes, that would be miserable, but that way I would be convinced and know that I am not who I imagined, and I would be able to work in a down-to-earth manner, Wei Venfang said. Wu Zaiyi asked unconvinced, how come you are right no matter what you say? Wei Venfang smiled and said, I just make sense. Wu Zaiyi accompanied Lao Wan to the vocational and technical school in Tonglu for 2 days. Lao Wan passed the driver's license test, and Wei Venfang and Wu Zaiyi were about to officially leave Zhang Chen's company. Zhang Chen asked them, do they have enough money? Thank you, Mr. Zhang and Mr. Liu. Whether we are here or in Haikan, the income you give us is good, allowing us to save some for ourselves. Although the money is tight, it is still enough, Wei Venfang said, and I want to, as much money as you have, you can do whatever you want. When Wei Venfang said this, he glanced at Lu Ligan, who shouted, I'll go, what do you mean, are you saying that I am too ambitious? Wei Venfang chuckled and said quickly, don't dare, how dare I think so? I can do as much work as I have, you know. Otherwise, I want to cover the entire earth with ceramic tiles, Lu Ligan said. Haha, we don't have such big ambitions, nor do we have such hobbies, Wei Venfang laughed. I don't have this hobby either. It's covered with ceramic tiles. What a vulgar aesthetic. Why don't you put gold teeth in your mouth? Zhang Chen scolded Lu Ligan, and everyone laughed. Zhang Chen knew that Wei Wenfang was a very high-spirited person, so he told her. If funds are tight, tell me, instead of borrowing money, we can prepay the freight. Aren't we leaving all the business to you? We can prepay the freight in advance. Okay, thank you, Mr. Zhang, I understand. They went to a small street behind the Sijiking clothing wholesale market. There was a row of shops built by local farmers, with one floor and one floor. There were shops below and people living above. Rented here are those who sell mannequins, net racks, clothes racks, trouser racks, etc., supporting products for clothing stores. There is also a small restaurant, which is responsible for delivering food to the stalls in the market every day, and selling fusible interlining, sewing thread, and packaging bags and other clothing accessories. The one closest to the small street is no longer open, and the landlord is looking for new leases. Others think it is too remote, but Wei Wenfang likes it. There is a phone inside. Although the phone is parked there, the landlord told her, as long as you go to the Post and Telecommunications office to prepay the phone bill, you can activate it immediately. Wei Wenfang asked the landlord to take her to the Post and Telecommunications office to ask and confirm that the landlord was right. After a lot of hard work, the landlord agreed to reduce the rent by 100 per month, and Wei Wenfang finally rented it. When Wei Wenfang was looking for a house, she asked Wu Zayawai to go to each parking lot and get on the line with the driver of each bus to negotiate the price of the goods. Wei Wenfang specially told them that we would bring the goods every day. If we have a lot of goods, let them also give us wholesale prices. Wu Zayawai was also a driver himself, and he could chat with these drivers in a few words. In addition, Wu Zayawai used to go to these parking lots to deliver goods every day. Most of the drivers had dealt with him and they knew him. Wu Zayawai I told them about the matter and said that I have now set up a company to deliver goods. In the future, I will not only deliver goods from half an acre of land, but also many other goods. You all have to give me the wholesale price, otherwise I will drink the northwest wind. The drivers all laughed and shouted, Xiao Wu, there is a wholesale price for this? We have heard that clothing has wholesale prices, but we didn't expect that there are also wholesale prices for goods. Of course I have. As long as the quantity of something is large, there will be a wholesale price. If I ask you to bring one item for 10 yuan, and the other two items cost 7 yuan, the total will be 14 yuan. Have you made more money? $4. One more piece and one less piece are the same to you, so are these 4 pieces picked up for free? The driver listened and felt that what Wu Zayawai said made sense, so he agreed. After the negotiation, one disabled vehicle was not enough, so Wu Zayawai took another newly recruited man, and the two of them rode 2 disabled vehicles to the Sanbeo factory to pull goods and start Zhang Chen's business here first. Adding 5 yuan to each package is their profit. Because the driver has negotiated a wholesale price, it is actually only 2 or 3 yuan more expensive than before, but it solves a lot of troubles for Zhang Chen and the others. What's more, the shipping fee is still paid by the franchise store below. Who cares about the extra 2 or 3 yuan for this package? Zhang Chen and the others' retail business for specialty stores was soon transferred to Wei Wenfang and the others. Many of the specialty stores below are in the province. There are no cars in the Sijiking parking lot in the province, so they need to go to various bus stations. Wu Zayawai also knows many drivers here. Carrying goods is a way for the drivers of the passenger transport company to earn extra money. The biggest advantage of the shuttle bus of the passenger transport company is that it has a timetable. Wu Zayawai and the others only need to find out the time and wait at the corner 2 to 300 meters from the exit. The drivers will drive over and see Wu Zayawai and the others standing there. There was a cargo belt, so the car pulled over and Wu Zayawai and the others hurriedly loaded the goods into the car. The passengers in the car were just about to complain when Wu Zayawai wrapped a piece of paper with the consignee's phone number on it, so he could contact him in case he missed it, as well as today's shipping fee, and stuffed them into the driver's hand. The driver didn't even look at it, just threw it into the locker next to it, closed the door and left. The difficult passenger just stood up, and before he could say anything, the car had already started, and he had no choice but to sit down and grunt. There were also drivers that Wu Zayawai had never had contact with before. Wu Zayawai also asked drivers he knew to help introduce them. Soon, Wu Zayawai had a list of hundreds of drivers. Although this list was not understandable to others because there were many the words are nicknames, such as Zuji's big beard, Jiaojiang's crooked mouth. Behind each nickname is the station, flight number, and time. Anyway, Wu Zayawai can understand it himself. Wei Venfang wrote the advertisement by herself and went to the printing factory to print 10,000 copies. Wu Zayawai's sister had just graduated from high school and had nothing to do, so Wei Venfang asked Wu Zayawai to call her over and stay in the store every day to answer the phone while she printed it herself. Advertisements are distributed at each booth. The owners of the clothing market are generally not very well educated. Many people can't understand such a simple advertisement, and some people either can't understand it or are simply illiterate. Wei Venfang takes a break in their business and patiently explains to them. They understood, and they all thought this was very good, and the price was only 2 or 3 yuan more expensive than before. The customer paid for it anyway. If a customer wants to ask, they will tell them that the shipping price has increased and send them away. There was a stall that had such goods to be delivered at that time, so he immediately asked Wei Venfang and the others to try delivering them. Wei Venfang called back and asked someone to pick up the goods and leave. The stall owner did not need to go to the parking lot to find a car by himself or a salesperson at all. I think it's too convenient. Especially after the goods are taken away, you don't even have to call the customer to tell them where to pick up the goods. Wei Venfang and others will notify them directly, which is even better. Some customers also found that Wei Venfang and the others would go to the station to deliver goods even to places where they could not deliver goods before. Even though it was 10 yuan more expensive, it was paid for by the customer. It was 10 yuan more expensive and the customer also found it very convenient. Soon, Wei Venfang's business was like water overflowing the Four Seasons Green. With the increase in the number of stalls Wei Venfang ran every day, these places were all wet. They soon ran out of staff, so they immediately hired 5 more. They also ran out of telephones, so they immediately added 1. Wei Venfang spent more than half a month visiting every stall in all the markets in Sijiking. Next, she planned to visit the Xinchen market in Longxiangqiao and the Huanbei small commodity market in Woolen Square, as well as the east she would go to the small commodity market where there were potential customers. Every time, when she felt exhausted from running and her mouth was dry, she would stand on the roadside and say to herself, "What's the point? Isn't this much easier than her father pulling a cart to deliver coal every day?" Moreover, this rapidly increasing business every day is the best reward for them. Thank you Sun Tongfei for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 715. After other business started, Wu Zayawai no longer went to the Sanbeo factory every morning to pull goods, but went there every night. The goods from Zhongchen and others were better than those from Sijiking. The goods he wanted to send here were all it's pre-ordered. It's not just a last-minute phone call. You rush to the stall and go to the parking lot to find a car immediately after you get the goods. Here, every specialty store will send a replenishment order every night when sending a fax. Zheng Huiyang and the others will prepare and package it at night. Wu Zayawai will come in the evening and transport it all at once. Take it back to the store and put it together with the goods sent by other customers, and ship them together the next day. Every night, Wei Venfang and Wu Zhaowai are very busy, because the goods sent by customers, or the goods notified to them to go to the processing factory, are brought in one truck at a time. When they arrive here, they must be sorted according to the place where they were received. Separate the different packages, so that no matter how many packages there are in one train, they only need to be delivered once, except for temporary business. Wu Zhaowai went to Sanbeo. Sometimes there were goods still being produced in the workshop, so he had to wait until the goods were ready before taking them away. When he met Zhang Chen asked them how they were doing now. Wu Zhaowai said they were fine, but they were too busy. I can't sleep every day. Zhang Chen smiled and said, be busy and you will be fulfilled. Now that I have to stop you, you probably won't be able to adapt to it. Wu Zhaowai smiled and said, this is really the case. Zhang Chen called Lao Wan over and told him, this way, don't let your master run away in the future. If the goods are not ready, you have to wait here, which is a waste of time. From now on, every night, after the goods are ready, you can deliver them. One trip, they can just wait in the store. Lao Wan said yes. Wu Zhaowai did not go to Sanbeo to buy goods and stayed in the store to help. This made Wei Venfang feel a lot more relaxed, but this relief was also short-lived. What gave them a headache was that now every evening and night, they were sent or notified to go there every day. There are more and more goods. After they are cooked, there are many stalls that let them go directly to the processing plant to pick up the goods. The goods from several places were brought back and piled up there. The store, which was more than 30 square meters, was so crowded that people could not even turn around, which greatly increased the difficulty of sorting the goods. Wei Venfang came up with an idea. She made a lot of iron shelves in the store and wrote different place names on each shelf. In this way, she didn't need to wait for a lot of goods to arrive before sorting them. Instead, she would sort every load of goods when they arrived. Sorting them directly onto the corresponding shelves makes it much easier. But the place is only so big, and the goods are increasing every day. Even with the shelves, the place is still crowded. Wei Venfang called the landlord. The landlord came over in plain sight wearing a thick gold chain around his neck. Wei Venfang told the landlord that your place is at the end of the street anyway, and there is no way to get there. Or you can walk sideways on the street and take a ride. How about a bunkhouse? Wu Zhaowai felt it was inappropriate. He said that others would have opinions. Although no one walked here, the street did not belong to the landlord after all. Unexpectedly, this landlord was a very arrogant person in the local area. He said that there was nothing wrong with it. Even if I built it, they didn't dare to have any objections. It's just that this kind of rotten house is considered poor as a business house. If you don't rent it after it's built, I won't suffer a huge loss. We must rent it, otherwise why would we tell you this, Wei Venfang said. The landlord thought for a moment, looked at Wei Venfang and said, either this, little sister, if you sign a 3-year contract for this simple house, you must make me get the cost back. If you dare to sign a 3-year contract, I will build it. With a 3-year contract, I have to pay rent for 3 years. Brother, our funds are very tight and we don't have so much money, Wei Venfang said. The landlord laughed and said to Wei Venfang, don't cry poor here. I know your business is very good and you make a lot of money every day. How much money do you make? You earn 2 or 3 yuan per package, which is almost like begging for food. You employ so many people, and so many people still need to eat, Wei Venfang said. Okay, no matter how much you earn, I won't ask for an extra cent, don't pretend, little sister. In this way, the contract will be 3 years and the rent will still be paid quarterly. How about that? The landlord asked. Wei Venfang quickly said thank you, brother. After the simple house was built, it was more than 60 square meters. Wei Venfang divided the 2 houses into categories. The one outside was specially used to store goods sent to various stations. It turned out that this one was specially used to store goods sent to various parking lots in Sijiking. Shipped goods. This way it will be clearer. Tan Shahen won the first prize of the Sanjiang Cup Young Singer Grand Prix and returned to Yongcheng, causing a small sensation. Yongcheng Daily and Yongcheng TV station both conducted exclusive interviews. The Yongcheng County Cultural Center also a large banner was pulled up in the square, which read, "Warm congratulations to Tan Shahen, a contestant from our county, for winning the first place in the Sanjiang Cup Young Singer Grand Prix in Hangzhou City." This first prize was requested by teacher Shi. She was afraid that people would not understand that this first prize was the first prize. It was not the only one, but there were many. How could the first prize be so straightforward and exciting? In the window of the cultural center facing the cultural square, there is also a special introduction to young singer Tan Shahen. There are many photos of her in it, including photos of her participation in the Sanjiang Cup Young Singer Grand Prix and Awards. There are also photos from the opening ceremony of the last arts festival, as well as stills from her performances in the troupe. Especially a precious photo of a student in class, one can't help but feel love and pity for her, and sigh, this Tan Shahen is really a beauty since she was a child. Of course, the photo of her and Dong Hua is definitely indispensable. The annotation below says, Tan Shahen's wonderful performance at the Yongcheng Summer Art Festival opening ceremony won praise from the famous singer Dong Hua. She specially went backstage to express our condolences and took the initiative to invite Tan Shahen to take a photo. Although almost everyone in Yongcheng knows the story, teacher Shi still feels the need to mention it again. These things gave Tan Shahen another chance to shine. She felt that many of the things she had lost seemed to have come back, but as for what she had lost, Tan Shahen herself couldn't tell clearly. Su Jianmia looked a little angry when she saw this. Tan Shahen didn't know what she had lost. She knew that it was the halo. She had accumulated it for so many years and had just enjoyed the halo for a while. She felt that she was walking with a spring in her step. Why was she like this? Tan Shahen won another first place, and it was at a time when her halo was beginning to weaken. Tan Shahen's limelight suddenly overshadowed her. Ding Begu comforted her and said, "It doesn't matter. As a human being, you can't ask for everything. Have you ever thought that the more Tan Shahen behaves like this, the less likely she will go back? You have secured your position in the troupe. What's the point of being stable? Tan Shahen is so famous now. If she wants to go back, I have to step aside again." Su Jianmia shouted. Ding Begu pointed his finger at Su Jianmia and laughed, saying, You are confused, you are really confused. This Tan Shahen is very famous now. She did not sing in the troupe, but was so messy outside. What's going on is that the more famous she becomes outside, the less likely she will come back to the group. Why, old Ding? Su Jianmia asked in confusion with her big eyes open. Think about it, this person always has a way out. If Tan Shahen has no way out outside, what will she do? She can only go back to the regiment. If she goes back to the regiment, then Lao Li and Lao Gui will not be with her, then aren't you the one who is most affected? Now that she has a career outside, she doesn't even want to return to the troupe. Even if she wants to return, the cultural center won't let her return. Su Jianmia understood earlier that this was really the case. Tan Shahen could not be forced to return to the troupe. If she did not return to the troupe, she would have a role. If she returned to the troupe, she would have no role. But why wouldn't this cultural center let her go back? Think about it, the cultural center only picked up a treasure a few years ago and won first place in the city. Now, they are still counting on her to participate in the provincial competition next May and come back with a good ranking. Such a treasure, how could they be willing to let her go? They must be trying every possible means to keep her. One of them doesn't want to go back, the other doesn't want to let her go, and I pretend that I don't know here. The salary will still be paid, so why would she go back? Su Jianmi I understood. She kissed Ding Begu and said with a smile, you are still cunning. There is another person who is even angrier than Su Jianmi, and when she is angry, she can only sulk, and there is no cunning person around to help her solve her doubts. This person is Shen Linlin. Shen Linlin used to come back from competitions. When she returned to her workplace, everyone she met would tell her, you're back. This is knowing she is back from the competition. Others will say, I saw you on TV. That means that when I was receiving the winning award, I vaguely saw her figure flashing across the screen. No matter what, this will make her feel a little proud. Although it is the winning prize, it is in Hangzhou City after all. If you have the ability, you can go and give it a try. Even the unit's year-end summary, in the section on enriching employees' spare time life, every year I write a sentence, Shen Linlin, an employee of our unit, stood out in the Sanjiang Cup Young Singer Grand Prix in Hangzhou City and won the championship award. Now, there are two people in Yongcheng. One won the first place and the first prize. What you got was a winning prize that was not even qualified to sing a song on TV. The weight of this winning prize is, the child has been weighed out. What does this mean? Without comparison, there would be no harm. With comparison, Shen Linlin would be hurt the most. When she goes to work again, what if someone tells her that she is back? She felt that it was saying, is it enough to be embarrassed? Some people who are ignorant said, I saw you on TV. Shen Linlin thought the subtext was, I watched Tan Shahen all night, but I didn't find you. This made Shen Linlin feel huge humiliation. Tan Shahen still did not return to work in the troupe, and there was no class to attend when she returned. Wasn't the troupe being overrun again, but Tan Shahen became busy. Especially in the second half of the year, the large state-owned enterprises in Yongcheng have more meetings and various performance competitions. Through Teacher Li, they will invite Tan Shahen to attend as a special guest and our famous young singer in Hangzhou City, and sang one song, and then another song amid the warm applause of the audience below. Finally, the host will definitely say, let us finally give warm applause to welcome Tan Shahen to perform her famous song I Love You, China for Us. When Tan Shahen comes off the stage after singing I will dedicate my beautiful youth to you, my mother, my motherland, someone will push a red envelope into her hand. Tan Shahen would always be stunned for a moment, and then she would think, is this the legendary appointment walking? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 716. There is a cultural square between the Yongcheng County Federation of Trade Unions and the Cultural Center. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Tang Lijuan, vice chairman of the Federation of Trade Unions, left the office, went downstairs, walked through the cultural square, and walked towards the cultural building opposite. The first floor of the cultural building is the Yongcheng County Library. When you enter the main door, there is a reading room on one side and a book lending room on the other. Walk out through the hall and reach the yard at the back. There are stairs going upstairs in the yard. The second floor is the cultural center. The third floor is the cultural bureau, and the fourth floor is the dance hall of the cultural center. Tang Lijuan arrived at the second floor and walked straight to Teacher Shi's office. Teacher Shi was very familiar with her. The Workers' Cultural Palace, which Tang Lijuan was in charge of, and the cultural center were considered brother units. They often held activities together. As long as they were doing activities, the Federation of Trade Unions with Tang Lijuan is always responsible. When Tang Lijuan walked in, she saw Teacher Shi and Tan Shahen inside. Teacher Shi saw Tang Lijuan and stood up with a smile. She called Tang Lijuan not Chairman Tang, but Commander Tang. Commander Tang is the commander of the Imperial Army Tang Binghui in the movie Tunnel War. Actor Lu Zhang has played two famous villains, one is Hu Hansen in Sparkling Red Star, and the other is Commander Tang in Tunnel War. The performance was so successful and the character was deeply rooted in the hearts of the people that many people with the surname Tang all over the country were unlucky and would be called Commander Tang. Tan Shahen was standing in front of the window, looking at the French plane trees practicing outside. When she heard Commander Tang come in, she stopped, turned around and smiled at her. Commander Tang is very famous in Yongcheng. There is almost no unit that she is not familiar with, and there is no door that she cannot enter. Whenever there is any big event, whether it is sponsored by the Federation of Trade Unions or not, you will see this middle-aged woman. The figure was walking around in a hurry on and off the stage, shouting, and his voice was very confident. When each unit held an event and had insufficient experience or manpower, the first thing that came to mind was to ask Commander Tang to help. And she was also very happy to do this kind of thing. She always arrived as soon as she was called, never considering the reward, and she saved everything. She was so popular that many people later knew Commander Tang, but fewer people knew that she was the vice chairman of the Federation of Trade Unions. Because I have seen her in too many unit activities that have nothing to do with the Federation of Trade Unions, and every time she appears, she acts like a master. Who knows which unit she belongs to? Of course Tan Shahen also knew Commander Tang. Commander Tang and Tan Shahen said, "The singing was so beautiful. I heard it on the stairs and couldn't bear to come in and interrupt you." Tan Shahen quickly said thank you to Teacher Tang. Teacher She looked at Commander Tang and asked, "Did you come in to listen to the music?" No, I don't have time to listen to music. I'm so busy that my butt is burnt. I'm here to find you," Commander Tang said. As soon as Tan Shahen heard this, she knew that they had something to talk about, so she was ready to leave. She told Teacher She, "I'll leave first." Don't go. I'm looking for her and you," Commander Tang shouted. Looking for me? Tan Shahen was surprised. Sit down. I wouldn't have come here if I wasn't looking for you. I pass by you every day and hear you singing. I know you are here all afternoon," Commander Tang said. Tan Shahen sat down. Commander Tang told the two of them about the matter. It turned out that the County Federation of Trade Unions and the County Women's Federation jointly organized the ICBC Women's Style and Etiquette Grand Prix. It was said to be a grand prize, but in fact it didn't cost much. The champion was 300 yuan, but since this activity was organized by the Federation of Trade Unions and the Women's Federation, Commander Tang had to pay attention to his own activities. What does this have to do with us? Aren't you just wearing a cheongsam and twisting around on the stage, and you don't sing, Teacher She asked. Commander Tang waved his hand and said with a smile, "Not only wearing cheongsam, but only wearing cheongsam, that is what your cultural center only does. In our case, there is also a professional attire, which is to wear stewardess and railway clothes and so on." Teacher She scolded, "You can't even see the shadow of an airplane in Yongcheng. Where do the stewardesses come from? There are trains, but they are all coal transporters, wearing labor cloth overalls. You're not pretending to be Miss Vacuum." "Who's the flight attendant who came to this valley?" Commander Tang said, "but if there is no business attire, what does it have to do with our Federation of Trade Unions?" "Then it's none of our business if you talk for a long time," Teacher She said. "I have heard that some people say that your event only has women and no men. It is a beauty pageant in disguise, an etiquette contest. In fact, it is we are choosing Miss Yongcheng. A beauty pageant is a beauty pageant. What are you afraid of? If you don't choose beauty, why should you choose ugliness? Miss Yongcheng is also very good, and she is not a thief in Yongcheng. If I were 20 years younger, I would also want to be Miss Yongcheng. Xiao Tan, don't you think so? When your troupe performs on stage, That lady is the protagonist and a positive figure, right? Commander Tang shouted. Tan Shahen smiled and said, "It's true what you said. The ladies in our dramas are rarely bad people." "Do you think I said it right?" Commander Tang said to Teacher Shi. Hey, hey Teacher Shi tapped his fingers on the table and asked, "Commander, you've been talking for a long time, what exactly do you want to say?" Commander Tang burst into laughter, and she said, "Haha, when you're happy, you talk nonsense." Teacher Shi asked suspiciously, "Why are you happy?" "I saw Xiao Tan. I came here just to find her. She is here and she is not happy that I caught her. Then what's wrong with me? It's none of your business. Just listen and don't hold me back." Commander Tang laughed and scolded. Commander Tang then talked to them, and they finally understood her intention. It turns out that when this event started, in order to expand the impact of the event and encourage the enthusiasm of the organizers in the townships below, the two units discussed that all those who signed up would be charged a registration fee of 5 yuan, and the fee would be returned to the Township Women's Federation. As a result, they were very motivated. Even higher than their heads, and went to every village to mobilize. Now in the village below, they were talking about some kind of beauty etiquette contest. Who could understand? Some people simply said it was a beauty pageant. Now everyone understood. They also said it was a rare opportunity to stand out. Don't miss it. This makes many girls and young women who think they are pretty are ready to take action. When you come to sign up, you don't do any basic deletion according to the regulations. As long as you pay the money, the two-nosed people will sign up for you. You stand there and hesitate, and they encourage you to sign up. According to statistics, there were more than 5,000 people who signed up. Although there were many people who signed up, and the impact of the event was indeed great, only God knows the quality of the people who signed up. Helpless, Commander Tang and the others had no choice but to go down and delete the elections one by one from the 36 towns in the county. After deletion, there were only 100 candidates left, and a preliminary round was held in the county seat, and only 30 candidates were left. These 30 candidates were still not ideal. This event was sponsored by the County Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. After seeing it, the president of ICBC was very dissatisfied and told Commander Tang that the ones you picked out are not as good looking as the tellers at my bank. What kind of heroine style are they? If the style is gone, where will the etiquette be? After discussing with the Women's Federation, the Federation of Trade Unions and the Women's Federation also felt that if this event, with such a grand spectacle and such widespread reputation, ended in an anticlimactic manner, selected unsatisfactory candidates, and ended hastily, it would not look good on the Federation of Trade Unions and the Women's Federation. Especially the first place in the preliminaries is a lady who runs a hair salon on the street in the county town. Although she is doing a serious business, but for such a vigorous event, the winner selected in the end is the owner of a hair salon, and it is always that one. Not very nice. Don't be professionally discriminatory. What's wrong with those who open hair salons? They also get rich through hard work, Teacher Shi said. Don't interrupt, just listen to me. Commander Tang waved his hand. After discussion between the Federation of Trade Unions and the Women's Federation, the two organizers, the result was that in addition to the 30 places selected in the preliminaries, 10 more special invitation places would be added. Commander Tang has a wide range of connections, so Commander Tang was asked to find these 10 people by himself. To put it bluntly, they were actually brought here to add excitement to this event. Commander Tang's first thought was, of course, Tan Shahen. With Tan Shahen at the bottom of the box, she wouldn't worry about the rest. No, Teacher Tang, I have never participated in such an activity. Upon hearing this, Tan Shahen quickly refused. What's not working? What's so difficult about this? I just learned the steps in 10 minutes while wearing clothes. When you were acting before, You rarely walked around on the stage. You can't even do this, Tang said the commander. No, Teacher Tang, mine is different from yours. Let's talk about it. Tan Shahen thought hard and couldn't say anything anymore. She was a little anxious and looked at Teacher Shi for help. Commander Tang also looked at Teacher Shi and she said, I don't care. This matter can be done or not. Saving a situation is like putting out a fire. You can't just watch me, Lao Tang, die without saving me. Teacher Shi scolded, you are not asking, you are forcing me. Yes, it was forced. If it doesn't work, I'll tell you, Xiao Tan, I'll ask 2 young men to go to your house and kidnap you. I know where you live. Commander Tang said, and both Teacher Shi and Tan Shahen were amused by her. Teacher Shi thought for a while and said to Tan Shahen, just go and be the gang commander. It won't waste time anyway, and there is no need to rehearse or anything, just go up and walk around. We can't afford to offend this person. We can't offend him. She doesn't want to live in Yongcheng anymore. It's good to know, Commander Tang rolled his eyes at Teacher Shi and laughed. Commander Tang looked at Tan Shahen and pointed at her. Since Teacher Shi said so, Tan Shahen had nothing to do. She frowned and said with a bitter smile, okay, Teacher Tang, I'll go. Tang Lijuan escorted Tan Shahen like a prisoner. She came out of Teacher Shi's office, went downstairs, crossed the cultural square, entered the gate of the Federation of Trade Unions, went upstairs to the office of the Federation of Trade Unions on the 2nd floor, walked to the door and walked in. He shouted, hurry up, take out the registration form, I brought a special guest. The people inside looked up and saw that it was Tan Shahen. Their eyes lit up and they quickly took out the form. Tan Shahen had no choice but to pick up the form and look at it. She told Tang Lijuan, Mr. Tang, I didn't bring my ID card. It doesn't matter. Just fill in what you remember. Who else in Yongcheng doesn't know you? Commander Tang said. I don't have a certificate of approval from my employer, Tan Shahen said when she saw that the specially invited contestants needed a certificate of approval from their employer. It doesn't matter. Who dares to disagree with your troop, Ding Begu or Feng Logui? I will go to whoever disagrees, Commander Tang shouted. Tan Shahen smiled bitterly. The office staff took off the cap of the pen and handed it to her. Tan Shahen could only start writing. After she finished writing, she saw that she still had to pay the registration fee of 5 yuan. When she was about to take out her wallet, Commander Tang had already rushed to pay the 5 yuan for her. Tan Shahen is a serious and competitive person. Although she was reluctant in every way before, now that she has signed up and filled out the form, she sat down and began to seriously inquire about the details of this competition. When she knew that tomorrow morning, Sunday, there would be a physical fitness teacher invited from Hangzhou to give physical training classes to the 30 contestants who had passed the preliminaries, Tan Shahen decided that she would also attend the class. The physical education class was held in the activity room of the Cultural Palace on the 4th floor of the Federation of Trade Unions. The next day, when Tan Shahen walked through the cultural square and walked towards the gate of the Federation of Trade Unions, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan had just arrived at Stadium Road. They were overwhelmed by so many people. People who buy off the plan properties are in for a surprise. Thanks to Wandering Lao Zhao for the reward. Thank you Wandering Lao Zhao and Bai Liang for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the reading and votes. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 717. As a town, Yongcheng County is new, with a history of only more than 30 years. It turns out that it is just a small mountain village with a few hundred people. Strangely, the people here do not speak Yongcheng dialect. It's the Anqing dialect of Anhui. They fled here from Anqing during the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. Later, it was because of the construction of the Xianan River hydropower station in the upper reaches that it became a new town. Chunnan people who immigrated from the upper reservoir gathered here. A large number of people from northern Jiangsu who stayed in the area after the construction of the hydropower station were recruited from all over the country. Plumbers and electricity workers, as well as Yongcheng locals from the towns below. Xiananjiang Hydropower Station is my country's first large-scale hydropower station that was designed, equipped, and constructed by itself. The reservoir of the hydropower station became the famous Qiandao Lake. Emerging towns prospered because of the hydropower station. The Yongcheng County government also started from below. The town moved up, and it became the seat of the county seat of Yongcheng County. Yongcheng County is an emerging town. As a cultural square, it is an old square with a history of more than 30 years. One end of the square is the main street and theater in the county, and the other end is a square more than 10 meters wide. Go down the steps step by step until you reach the riverside. There are 2 large camphor trees here at the entrance of the steps. Under the camphor trees is a cement stage. This stage was used for all the mass meetings, celebration meetings, and criticism meetings in the county until the later public judgment meetings and prize savings lottery meetings. Held here, it can be said to be the center of Yongcheng's political culture. This time, the ICBC Cup Women's Style Etiquette Grand Prix was also held here. A red carpet was laid on the cement stage. There were 2 large speakers on both sides of the stage. There was a long row of tables under the stage. There was a row of judges sitting behind the table covered with red cloth. On one side of the stage, there is a tent for the contestants to change clothes. The stage was too small, and there were too many contestants. If they all crowded onto the stage, it would become a mess, so they were divided into 2 groups. In fact, the whole performance had no content. It was just 40 women taking turns to take the stage. Arrange and change various formations, then go down, change a set of clothes and come up again. Everyone has a number. No matter what kind of clothes they wear, they pin this number on their body. The judges below will fill in the number in the first, second, and third places of each link according to their own preferences. Finally, who will be counted? The one with the most wins will be ranked first, and so on for the rest. The clothes worn by the players were all borrowed by the organizers from everywhere. Otherwise, it would be a huge expense, and even the sponsor, ICBC, could not afford it. The first link is related to agriculture. There are 40 contestants, dressed as tea-picking girls. This is easy to handle. Wu Opera Troupe, Lao Yu Opera Troupe and even the Cultural Center have such costumes. In the past few years, all parts of Zhejiang have been crazy about picking tea. Tea dance, get-togethers in the work unit, and performances in the system all have tea-picking dance, so the costumes of tea-picking girls are easy to find. The second link is to reflect the national characteristics. Everyone wears cheongsam. This is easy to handle. Didn't the art festival just hold? The hostesses in various occasions of the art festival wore cheongsam. The organizing committee made a large number of cheongsams. I was originally planning to use it next year, but I didn't expect to use it right away, so I quickly moved it out of the film company's warehouse. The third link is related to industry. I originally wanted to wear uniforms for railway workers, but I couldn't find so many clothes at Yongcheng Railway Station. In the end, I could only get half of them from railway workers, and the other half from the long-distance bus station. Bus station clothing. The first 3 are related to Yongcheng, and the 4th one is purely for gimmicks. Commander Tang doesn't think so. She thinks this link is related to reform and opening up. What other industry's clothing is better than that of stewardesses? Clothing can better reflect the spirit and speed of reform and opening up. Wasn't there a person in our county selected to be a flight attendant last year? When she said this, everyone agreed with her. But where to find the flight attendant's clothes? Commander Tang knew the parents of the girl who became a flight attendant last year, but even if she found this girl, she couldn't come up with 40 sets of flight attendant clothes. Commander Tang still had an idea. She said who knew what a flight attendant was like. She ran to a hotel under the Hangzhou Federation of Trade Unions and borrowed the uniforms of the hotel staff. Everyone wore them and looked at them. They looked like that, but it's a pity that the clothes she borrowed were not the clothes of the front office department, but the clothes of the housekeeping department, that is, the clothes of the cleaning staff who perform sanitation in the guest rooms. When the announcer said sonorously and forcefully in that jumping voice, "The blue sky is soaring with the grace of our youth, and the white clouds are entrusting our infinite longing for our hometown, Yongchang. Look, now we are heading towards our most beautiful daughters from Yongchang, the stewardesses, came to us, and they formed the most beautiful scenery today." So, a group of people dressed in hotel waiter costumes came up and walked from one side of the stage to the other. All they needed was a mop in their hand. The last program and the most attractive program is the swimsuit show. It is a swimsuit, not a bikini. In small towns in the mainland, no one has the courage to wear a bikini. It is the swimsuit. There are still many people who resist and refuse to wear it until Commander Tang. He told them that after the performance, they would take it back, and then everyone put it on. At this point, the chairperson of the County Women's Federation immediately thought of it. She said that it has something to do with emancipating the mind. The central government calls on us to emancipate our minds a little more, which means that we should break the traditional rules and regulations, especially the old ideas in our thinking. Everyone thinks it's very suitable to use swimsuits to break old stereotypes. 40 young women, although they all have different looks, at least they have the same figure. However, those borrowed clothes will never fit. The whole performance is actually a disaster scene, but no one on the stage or off stage feels that. Everyone on the stage was very serious, but off stage, they felt it was too lively. As long as it was lively in this kind of open air scene, it would be better than anything else. Because everyone said this was a beauty pageant, there were a lot of people coming to see it. Many people came specially from the towns below Yongchang, and the cultural square was packed to the brim. Tan Shahen is number 5. As soon as she appeared on the stage, she immediately attracted the attention of the audience. The audience in the distance was far apart. Although they could not see the difference in facial features on the faces of the people on the stage, number 5 stood on the stage as soon as she came on the stage. It feels different there, and when you walk, the difference becomes even greater. Human body language is formed by accumulated training over time. Tan Shahen had no shortage of training in this area. She came to take a morning class that day. Others were still confused, but she immediately grasped the key points. Everyone came on stage wearing hotel uniforms, and others looked like they were doing hygiene, but she was the only one who really looked like a stewardess. It wasn't her clothes, but her performance of the stewardess's temperament. In addition, she has enough stage experience. Whether the clothes she wears are too fat or too short, she can make up for them through her movements. In addition, many people, when they first encounter such a big scene, there are so many people below. People's heads might feel a little dizzy and their movements might feel a little stiff, but she was calm and generous. When this person is on stage, his eyes are his soul, especially for the judges sitting in the first row. They see that other people's eyes are dull. Only Tan Shahen's eyes are looking around freely, as if they are alive. With a slight smile on his face, and those eyes seem to be talking about something. If the difference between the girls and Tan Shahen was not that big when they were standing together in the audience, then on the stage, under the backdrop of so many people, Tan Shahen immediately turned into that crane. Proudly independent, riding a high horse, and stunned some of the judges. I didn't expect that we in Yongcheng would have such a beauty. Especially the male judges. The competition started lively and ended lively. Tan Shahen won the first place as expected. She received the certificate and flowers from the hands of the chairman of the County Women's Federation and the chairman of the Federation of Trade Unions, and received the certificate and flowers from the hands of President Mao of the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Here, I received a red envelope containing a bonus of 300 yuan. After the competition, there will be a dinner at the Yongcheng Hotel next to the Cultural Square. In attendance are the leaders of the organizer, the leaders of the sponsoring units, the long row of judges, the top 3 winners, and organizer staff. As the champion, Tan Shahan sat at a table with the chairman of the County Women's Federation, the chairman of the Federation of Trade Unions, and President Mao of the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. The chairman of the County Women's Federation must also call Commander Tang over. It wouldn't be lively without her. Everyone sat together, drank, ate and chatted. Since Tan Shahan was present, and naturally they talked about the Sanjiang singer competition that had just concluded. Tan Shahan answered their questions with a smile. When we talked about the theater troupe again, the chairman of the County Women's Federation asked, "Where are you performing now?" Before Tan Shahan could answer, Commander Tang answered for her, "Where to perform, and perform at home every day." "Chairman, you are such a bureaucrat. You don't know that after the art festival, this troupe will no longer have to perform." "Didn't you also go to Beijing?" asked the union chairman. "Hey, that's all. Let's complete the mission." Commander Tang said that although performing in Beijing was a top priority for the Yongcheng County Party Committee and county government, everyone knew it and laughed it off on less formal occasions. The chairman of the Women's Federation thought of a question of his own and asked Tan Shahan, "Xiao Tan, why didn't you participate in that performance in Beijing?" Commander Tang usually has many contacts with the people in the troupe, including Teacher Li, and knows some inside information. He knows that Tan Shahan is difficult to talk to, so he quickly comes to her rescue. "This actor is different from us. Natural replacement is faster. This old actor always has to. Let's get new actors." The chairman understood the meaning of the words and asked Tan Shahan, "Then you will not perform now?" Tan Shahan thought to herself, "If the troupe doesn't perform anymore, what else can I do? If I think about it again, even if the troupe performs, I won't go." She smiled and nodded and said, "Yes, I won't perform anymore." The chairman really didn't understand the business of the troupe, but he had good intentions. He shouted, "Why stay in the troupe if you don't perform? Isn't it a pity? Quickly change units. It's not good for this person to be idle. He will get into trouble." Tan Shahan smiled bitterly in her heart. How could it be so convenient to change units? This chairman is really aloof. "By the way, Xiao Mao, President Mao, the job in your bank is good, or transfer Xiao Tan to you." The chairperson of the Women's Federation is not a high-ranking official, but she is still a member of the Standing Committee of the County Committee. Of course she is used to talking to people in this tone. Yes, the chairman is right. "Xiao Tan, why don't you just transfer to ICBC? You will have to participate in the provincial competition next year. ICBC has always attached great importance to the amateur cultural life of its employees. If you go, you can also use your expertise," Commander Tang also shouted. Tan Shahan could only smile and say, "Then even if I want to transfer it, President Mao and the others will have to ask for it." "President Mao, let me tell you, you have picked up a treasure by transferring Xiao Tan. Maybe next year Xiao Tan will join our Yongcheng County for you and win a provincial championship," Commander Tang explained. President Mao quickly said okay. He turned around and said to Tan Shahan, "Okay, Xiao Tan, come to my office tomorrow. Thanks to Wandering Lao Zhao and Shifang Xian for your monthly votes. Thank you Tin Soldier, ranked third from top to bottom, reading books every day, and 131 on the shore for your continued rewards. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 718. After dinner, everyone shook hands and said goodbye at the entrance of Yongcheng Hotel. Tan Shahen walked through the cultural square and walked to the cultural center. She walked downstairs and looked at her watch. It was already past 8 o'clock, and the song and dance hall upstairs was already open. The changing lights and music passed through the windows of the dance hall and fell to the square below. Teacher, she knew that he would not be coming to the competition today and the banquet with the leaders after the competition, and he did not even need to ask for leave. In addition, I had been working hard all afternoon, and had eaten with the leader for several hours earlier. I didn't expect that eating with the leader would be more tiring than competing. I had to maintain a dignified sitting posture at all times, think about how to say every word, and also I'm looking for something to talk about, my God. Thinking like this, Tan Shahen felt that she was really tired, so she should go home first and spend time with her daughter. Tan Shahen walked home alone, her heart full of joy. Of course she knew what President Mao meant when he said, "Come to my office tomorrow." She didn't expect that participating in such a competition would bring unexpected joy. In a county town, being able to work in a bank is something that many people long for but cannot achieve. Tan Shahen knew that since President Mao asked her to go tomorrow, there was a 90% chance that he would agree to her transfer. If she was asked for her personal opinion, she would of course agree immediately. Since she has decided not to return to the troop, then what other unit can be better than going to the bank? At that time, the bank had not yet been fully commercialized, and was still a semi-enterprise and semi-public institution. Tan Shahen herself was a public institution. From this point of view, there was no obstacle to transfer. Tan Shahen considered whether to tell Feng Logui about this when she returned home. After thinking for a long time, she decided not to tell her. She would wait until she talked to President Mao tomorrow and the matter was settled. What worries Tan Shahen is Feng Logui and the Cultural Affairs Bureau. If Feng Logui knew this, his first reaction would probably be, "I am the leader of the troop here, and my wife is not at ease with the work of the troop, which will affect the performance of the troop." No, he would definitely think so. Tan Shahen could imagine it with her toes. For the Cultural Affairs Bureau, their usual approach is that the troop has nothing to perform and the people in the troop have nothing to do. They treat them as nothing and wish they did not exist at all. But once anyone wants to leave the troop, they will immediately find out. This person is a talented person and cannot leave. The troop will collapse if he leaves. They would rather you rot in the troop than let you go out and run. Tan Shahen knew in her heart that once she went to the Cultural Bureau to propose a transfer, they would definitely not agree. As for Feng Logui, don't expect him to be on her side. Dingling bells, a string of bicycle bells rang behind her. Tan Shahen turned around and saw Xiao Wu riding on the bicycle. Xiao Wu laughed with her. "Sister Shahen, congratulations. I also saw it below. Congratulations on becoming Miss Yongcheng." Tan Shahen pretended to be angry and said, "Xiao Wu, what are you talking about?" Xiao Wu chuckled, "I'm not talking nonsense, it's Miss Yongcheng. What's wrong? If Sister Shahen is not Miss Yongcheng, who dares to be Miss Yongcheng?" Tan Shahen smiled and said, "Okay Xiao Wu, don't look for sister to be happy. Where are you going? Go back to your room and get something. How about you? Go home. Come up, I'll take you," Xiao Wu said. Tan Shahen sat on the back seat of Xiao Wu's bicycle. Xiao Wu took her and rode to the bottom of Jiaofang. Xiao Wu said he wanted to send Tan Shahen back to the U opera troupe. Tan Shahen quickly jumped off the bike and said no, it was all uphill and she was exhausted. "A little way, I walked in by myself." Tan Shahen said that she walked in without leaving, as if she wanted to tell Xiao Wu something. Xiao Wu got out of the car and asked, "Sister Shahen, what's the matter?" Tan Shahen told Xiao Wu what happened during dinner. "Go, ICBC, of course you want to go. What's the deal with this shabby theater troupe? What's the difference between staying here and waiting to die? Xiao Wu shouted. Tan Shahen said quickly, of course I want to go, but I'm worried that the bureau will not agree. They will definitely disagree, but don't be afraid. If anyone dares to disagree, then I will go find him. I will educate him. You can't be so immoral. How can you do things that delay people's lifelong events? Those who don't agree, I will just ask him to support you. Screw you, I want someone to support me, so who do I need to be? Tan Shahen cursed, then laughed again, and said to Xiao Wu, thank you Xiao Wu, you are right, there is nothing to be afraid of. If anyone disagrees, I will go find him. Well, I'll go with you. If not, tie him up and hang him from a tree to force him to agree. Tan Shahen laughed, put a hand on Xiao Wu's back, pushed him, and said to him, okay, thank you Xiao Wu, go get something. Xiao called Sister Shahen goodbye, stepped on his feet, and rode up the semicircular steep slope. Tan Shahen watched Xiao Wu's figure turn to the other side of the ramp. She turned around and walked step by step into the valley, still thinking about what Xiao Wu had just said. She thought that the first person in the Cultural Bureau who opposed her transfer must be Ding Begu. If that happened, she would have to settle the accounts with him one by one. Why did she need to be replaced at the art festival? Why did she not go to Beijing without her? You have to ask him to explain everything clearly. If you can't explain clearly, Tan Shahen remembered Xiao Wu's words, tie him up and hang him from a tree. Tan Shahen couldn't help but laugh again. Tan Shahen looked up at home, only to find that the windows at home were dark. It was not 9 o'clock. It was impossible for Feng Logui and her daughter to go to bed so early. They must have gone out. Tan Shahen walked upstairs. It was dark upstairs. She opened the door with the key and went in. Sure enough, there was no one at home. Tan Shahen took the tooth cup, towel, and wash basin and went out, turning on the light in the corridor. After washing, she came back, turned off the light, walked into the room, took out the certificate and red envelope from the bag, threw it on the table, and poured a glass water, standing in front of the window, drinking while looking out the window. My mind went blank. After drinking the water, she felt a little sleepy, so she prepared to go to bed and sleep for a while. Before going to bed, she turned on the lights in the corridor so that when Feng Logui and her daughter came back, it would not be dark outside. I don't know how much time passed, but Tan Shahen vaguely heard Feng Logui open the door and come in, muttering something about why the lights outside were not turned off. As if she didn't hear her daughter's voice, Tan Shahen sat up on the bed. Sure enough, Feng Logui came back alone without her daughter. Where's my daughter? Tan Shahen asked. My parents' place, Feng Logui said angrily. Why did you leave it to your parents? Where have you been? Feng Logui did not answer where he had gone, but said sadly, I thought you would not come back until midnight again. Tan Shahen sat there and shook her head, then fell down again, too lazy to say anything to Feng Logui. Feng Logui has been acting like this ever since he found out that Tan Shahen participated in this competition. He didn't say it, but Tan Shahen knew it and could feel it. She knew that there had been rumors outside that this was a beauty contest, and she knew that Feng Logui, this is what Lao Gui cares about. He must be thinking in his heart, who is a serious person who will participate in this event. Tan Shahen closed her eyes. She heard Feng Logui go out to the bathroom and come back. She heard him turn off the light and then lie down. Tan Shahen turned over and thought she fell asleep. The next morning, when Tan Shahen woke up, Feng Logui was no longer there. Tan Shahen cursed in her heart, it's nothing. Why are you going to the theater so early every day? Can you become an immortal by sitting alone in that office? Tan Shahen looked at her watch and saw that it was already past 7 o'clock. She was shocked. She didn't expect that she was so sleepy and had slept for so long. It seemed that she didn't have to worry about her throat today. She got up and walked to the table to take a look. The big red certificate was still there, but the red envelope had been taken away. Feng Logui was in charge of the money in their family, so he must have put it away. Tan Shahen opened the cabinet door and put the certificate away. Throw it in. At around 9 o'clock, Tan Shahen went to President Mao's office. When President Mao saw Tan Shahen come in, he stood up happily and invited her to sit on the sofa. Sure enough, President Mao didn't hesitate and went straight to the point, asking Tan Shahen if she wanted to transfer to their unit. Tan Shahen said she wanted to, but President Mao, I am at home and I can't even calculate my own accounts clearly. What can I do at your bank? President Mao laughed and said, do you think our bank only knows how to settle accounts? That is a matter for the counter below. No one in the office upstairs is responsible for settling accounts. President Mao and Tan Shahen said that if she came over, his idea would be to work in the president's office. Our bank receives a lot of things every day, especially from higher-level provincial and municipal banks and other brother county banks. There is no way, who made Yongcheng a major tourist county. When they come, we need to receive them and let them come and leave happily. You are good at this. You are already a champion of etiquette. To tell you the truth, Xiao Tan, I also observed you last night. I found that you dealt with several leaders appropriately. You are definitely qualified for this job. Also, if you take part in some trade union matters in the industry, do you think there is any problem with this? Tan Shahen smiled and said, if it is these jobs, I can do it, no problem. Okay, then you are welcome to become a member of our ICBC as soon as possible. I am here to give you a strong welcome. I am just worried about whether the troop and the Cultural Affairs Bureau will let you go since you are the pillar of the troop. President Mao extended his hand as he spoke, and Tan Shahen quickly shook it. As expected, they were all worried. Tan Shahen said, don't worry, President Mao, I will work hard to fight for it. Okay, that's it. You go talk to the bureau first. It would be best if they can release him happily. If not, I'll go talk to your director. President Mao and Tan Shahen said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 719. Tan Shahen left ICBC and first went to her parents' house to tell her parents that she was going to be transferred to ICBC. After listening to Tan Shahen's words, Lao Tan remained silent. Mrs. Tan became happy as soon as she heard this and shouted. It's really great. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. No matter how many people want to get in, they can't get in. Zhen, don't be confused. Don't think about anything. Transfer immediately. If you miss this opportunity, you won't regret it. Tan Shahen said, I have already decided to transfer him, and I also agreed to the president, but now I am worried that the bureau will not agree. There is no reason why they don't agree. If anyone in the bureau disagrees, Zhen, I will go out of my way to ask them why you don't agree. If you want to say that you have sold your life, you have been selling it to the troop for almost 20 years. If they don't agree with what you get, fine, let them arrange a good seat for you in the bureau, Mrs. Tan shouted. Old Tan clicked his tongue at the side. Mrs. Tan looked at Old Tan and cursed. You old fool, don't be verbose. I know what you are thinking. This troop is no longer the troop you had at that time. Don't think that there will still be flowers and applause every day. If this continues, I don't think anything but the northwest wind will. There will be no farts, just think about your daughter. Lao Tan finally couldn't bear it any longer and shouted, who's so verbose? Did I say anything while I was sitting here? I didn't say a word. You were the only one talking. You didn't say it with your mouth, but you said it in your heart. Don't think I don't know what little juju you are and what you want to talk about. Acting is a lifelong thing. The country will prosper. Wu drama will definitely flourish. Now is not the time to sing a high note. Mrs. Tan was cursing, and Tan Shahan secretly laughed in her heart, feeling that at this critical moment, I still had my mother to rely on. Have you told Lao Gui? Mrs. Tan asked. Tan Shahan shook her head. I haven't gone back yet. I've been here since I left the bank. No, Lao Gui has the same temperament as you. He climbs on his head to shit and doesn't dare to say a word. I must explain it clearly to him. As Mrs. Tan spoke, she walked over, picked up the phone, and dialed the Wu Opera Troupe's office. It was Feng Logui on the phone. Mrs. Tan said, come home right away. Zhen Zhen is here. After more than 10 minutes, Feng Logui arrived. As soon as he entered, he felt that the atmosphere in the room was not right. Something must have happened. He looked at Lao Tan. Lao Tan was sitting there with a livid face, his head turned to one side, looking at Tan Shahan. Tan Shahan held the bottle and was concentrating on feeding her daughter, ignoring him. Feng Logui could only ask Mrs. Tan, Mom, you called me over. What's the emergency? Zhen Zhen is going to be transferred to the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Please help her talk to the bureau about this, Mrs. Tan said. Transfer to ICBC? Why didn't I know when? Feng Logui asked. Don't you know now? This place has just been decided, so I called you to come over and listen to your opinion. My opinion? Feng Logui hesitated, and after a while he muttered, I don't think it's good. I'm in the office, and I persuade people to have peace of mind at work in the troupe every day, but it turns out that my wife is the first just leave, from now on. What kind of job is Angzan? No one in the troupe is leaving. What kind of work do you have to do for others? Do you have plays to arrange or performances for others? Tan Shahan said angrily, you sit in the office and talk to people. Do you think you are hurting your heart by saying these things? Do you think you are doing good for others? You are harming others. Why did I harm others? Feng Logui argued. You have nothing to do every day, guarding a shabby office. You want everyone to be like you and die in that shabby theater troupe, right? Tan Shahan scolded. Fart, Lao Tan slammed the armrest of the sofa and cursed, you speak like a broken troupe and shut up like a broken troupe. Tan Shahan, don't forget, everything you have today was given to you by this broken troupe. Old Tan roared loudly, and the daughter in Tan Shahan's hands was startled, choked on the milk, her face turned red, and she cried loudly. Tan Shahan quickly stood up, held her upright, and patted her back coaxingly. Walked away. Mrs. Tan was so angry that she pointed at Lao Tan with her finger, and Lao Tan snorted heavily. Mrs. Tan wanted to follow her to see how her granddaughter was doing. She took 2 steps and saw Tan Shahan going back to her room. Mrs. Tan stopped. She walked back and sat down. She lowered her tone and said to Feng Logui, let's not talk about what's available and what's not. Just tell me, is this troupe getting better? Feng Logui looked at her, then at Lao Tan, without saying a word. Mrs. Tan continued, it's not that I like to interfere with you two. If this troupe gets better, then I won't say anything and let Zhen Zhen continue to stay in the troupe and continue to do whatever it is to revitalize Wu opera. We are all members of our own family here. Logui, tell me honestly, do you have any confidence in your heart? Tell the truth, don't lie to yourself. Feng Logui hesitated to speak, and finally shook his head. What about you, you old Wuju, Lao Tan, Teacher Tan, do you know what you are doing? Mrs. Tan then asked Lao Tan, and Lao Tan still snorted. You can't say it out loud, can you? You don't have any confidence in your heart, right? You have no confidence. I have confidence in my heart. What the hell, even this Wu opera troupe will end up like the Yu opera troupe sooner or later. Maybe not this year or next year. Let you delay it for a few more years. At that time, okay, just a piece of paper and disband, what will you do? Mrs. Tan stared at Feng Logui. Feng Logui lowered his head. Mrs. Tan continued. At that time, you two, who are in your 30s, need diplomas but not diplomas, need skills but not skills, just like the people in the Yu opera troupe. What else can you do? What kind of jobs can you find? It doesn't matter if you think it's hard for you. What about the child? She has to go to school, eat every day, pay tuition, and buy clothes. You don't even have a job. Where are you going to get the money? It's not that I'm being harsh. I'm from the Cultural Affairs Bureau. Those people have no heart. They use you like cattle when they need you, and throw them away like rags when they are no longer needed. Look, how many years have passed? How many people in the Yu opera troupe still have to go to the Cultural Bureau or the county government every day? Do you think they like that? You want face. None of them wanted face as much as you did back then. This is all forced. Logui, do you think you will be like this one day? If you don't think about yourself, you should think about your children, right? Now Zhen Zhen has such a good opportunity to go to the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Do you think that such an opportunity will come every day? Dreaming, this opportunity will pass after it passes. As long as one of you two has a stable job, each of you will, if you can get your wages on time every month, then the troupe will be flooded or burned by fire, but your life can still go on. If two people are tied to that tree, how can we live this life? It will really be like the old saying, two people hanged on a tree. No, it's not two people, it's your family of three, they will all be together. Hang from a tree. After Mrs. Tan finished speaking, Lao Tan sighed, and he said to Feng Logui, Lao Gui, what your mother said makes sense. Just think of it for the sake of the child, and let Zhen Zhen handle it. Feng Logui said and nodded, okay, I'll go find Director Xiaoding in the afternoon. That's right, Mrs. Tan clapped her hands, stood up and said, I'm going to cook. After all, this is a happy thing. Let's celebrate at noon. Tan Shahen and Feng Logui finished their lunch and sat for a while. At 1:30 in the afternoon, the two of them stood up. For the first time, they went out and entered together for the first time. When they went downstairs, Tan Shahen sat on Feng Logui's bicycle. From behind, she held his waist with her hands. The two people arrived at the cultural building, parked the car, walked in together, and went upstairs together. When they reached the second floor, Tan Shahen and Feng Logui said, I am here with Teacher Shi. Feng Logui said Tan Shahen walked into Teacher Shi's office. Teacher Shi laughed when he saw her and told her, I saw it upstairs and won another first place. Tan Shahen smiled and waved her hand, meaning that she was too embarrassed to mention this kind of competition. Before starting to practice her voice, Tan Shahen told Teacher Shi about her trip to the bank in the morning. Teacher Shi listened to her quietly, breathed a sigh of relief, and said to her, Zhen Zhen, actually I have been keeping an eye on you to see if there are any good units. Unfortunately, you also know that the teacher is not very capable and cannot be of much help. What will happen to the troupe? Who in the cultural system does not care? Do you know full well? You don't say anything, but you are still deceiving others and yourself. In my opinion, if you can come out sooner, you will be liberated one day earlier. Now that you have such an opportunity, I'm really happy for you. The Industrial and Commercial Bank of China has always been very supportive of employees' participation in these competitions and activities. They will never ask for time off. If you go to the competition, they will still count at your attendance. Moreover, their system also has competitions every year. With your strength, you will definitely win a provincial championship and city championship for them. Haha, by then President Mao will know that you are worth every penny. Your position in the unit don't have a good life. Teacher, she frowned as she spoke, and asked, does the bureau know about this? Tan Shahan shook her head and said, Logui is going to find Director Ding now. Feng Logui walked into Ding Begu's office. Ding Begu was slightly surprised when he saw it was him. Feng Logui would not come to the bureau easily. Did something happen to the group? After the troop was reinstated, Su Jianmei chatted with Ding Begu every day. Today she said these people were complaining, and the next day she said they were going to the bureau to prosecute their crimes. This made the Wu troop, in Ding Begu's view, just like a powder keg that could explode at any time. It made him uneasy. Ding Begu stood up and asked Feng Logui to sit on the sofa. He brought him a glass of water. After sitting down, he asked, is there anything going on in the group? Feng Logui shook his head and said, there's nothing wrong with the group. I asked Director Ding for help if I had something to do. Ding Begu secretly breathed a sigh of relief, as long as everything was fine in the group. He looked at Feng Logui, raised his chin and said, Logui, if anything happens, just say it. Feng Logui told him that Tan Shahan wanted to be transferred away. Ding Begu was overjoyed when he heard that. If Tan Shahan was transferred, Su Jianmei would become the pillar of the Wu opera troupe once and for all, and they would no longer have to worry about anyone talking about it. They squeezed out Tan Shahan several times, which was their planned conspiracy, so that they could proceed with their marriage plan. After all, he and Su Jianmei were more than 20 years apart, and he was afraid that the cooked duck would fly. Ding Begu remained calm, nodded slowly, and asked, where are you planning to transfer to? ICBC. Not bad, a good unit. The unit is good, but Director Ding. Ding Begu stretched out his hand, patted the back of Feng Logui's hand, and said to him cordially, Lao Gui, it stands to reason that as the deputy director of the Cultural Bureau and the leader of the Wu Opera Troupe, I shouldn't say such things. However, these people's hearts are full of flesh. You two are both in the troupe. To be honest, it's really I'm embarrassing you. Although Tan Shahan is important to the troupe, she has such a good place to go now. If I stop her from going, Ding Begu, can't do such a thing. Feng Logui felt relieved and said quickly, thank you, Director Ding. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. I personally have no objection, but after all, I have the director above me. Feng Logui's heart sank again after he had just relaxed. Well, Logui, you sit here for a while, and I will go to the director now to help you fight for it. Okay, thank you Director Ding. Thank you God send God Niu, you and Yuji for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all the best. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 720. Ding Begu walked to the director's office at the other end of the corridor and told the director about the matter. The director said, Tan Shahan was going to be transferred? What about the troupe? The theater troupe doesn't have any tasks right now, Ding Begu said. As for next year's art festival, the county has decided on it. The second Yongcheng Summer Art Festival will be held next year. Director, you have forgotten that Tan Shahan did not participate in the troupe's performance this year. Oh, look, I really forgot about this. The director looked at Ding Begu and said with a smile, Old Ding, I'm not very familiar with this troupe. You said, this Tan Shahan is gone, that Su what, can you really take the lead? No problem, no, Tan Shahan didn't even participate in this performance in Beijing. The director nodded, and Ding Begu followed up, I'm worried. What are you afraid of? This Tan Shahan is no longer thinking about the troupe. Her thoughts are on participating in the provincial Kahwa Cup next year. The cultural center is still counting on her. If we force her to stay, I'm afraid that she will not be there by then. Unable to keep him, he even ruined the cultural center. I heard that several units in Hangzhou want to poach her. As long as she quits our job, they will recruit her and she will go to Hangzhou. She has nothing to do with us in Yongcheng. She will be transferred here. ICBC is still in Yongcheng after all, and the cultural center can still call her. Also, if we insist on keeping him and Tan Shehen resigns in anger, then Lao Tan and his old woman will definitely come to us. This Lao Tan is still somewhat famous in the cultural system of the province. When he goes to Hangzhou, Director Qian of the provincial department will treat him to dinner. Is there anything else? The director asked. Yes, they work together. In the Wu opera Tears of 11 She written by director Qian, the first Fan Li was played by Lao Tan. I see. The director nodded. Then let's get together and part ways, and agree to her transfer. Ding Begu stood up and walked to the door. The director stopped him again and said to him, Old Ding, this matter is done. Please help me make an appointment with Lao Tan, and I will treat him to dinner. Ding Begu nodded and said okay, I will make arrangements. Tan Shehen was transferred to the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China smoothly. Her office was right next door to President Mao. It used to be a small reception room for President Mao. When Tan Shehen came, it was vacated and turned into her office. Tan Shehen, his title is Assistant to the President and Vice Chairman of the Trade Union. Tan Shehen felt very apologetic and said to President Mao, I'm sorry for taking up all your space. President Mao smiled and said, that's right. When these people came, I had to receive them myself. Now that you are here, I have handed over these people to you. Of course, this place must also be given to you. Tan Shehen sat in her office and looked around. How wealthy this bank was. Everything in this office was brand new. Even the stapler in the drawer was new and there were no whole boxes of staples. Unopened, not to mention the phone and calendar on the table, including the curtains on the windows. My own office is more beautiful than all the offices I have been to. Needless to say, Teacher Shi's office in the cultural center, even the offices of Commander Tang, the vice chairman of the Federation of Trade Unions, and the director of the Cultural Bureau, are not as beautiful as my own. Tan Shehen sat at her desk, feeling contented as never before. The first floor of ICBC is the business hall, and through the business hall is the office area. Tan Shehen's office is on the second floor. She went home for lunch and then came to work. When she passed the business hall, she suddenly heard someone calling her Zhen Zhen, turned around and saw that it was Shen Linlin. Tan Shehen was surprised. Linlin, why are you here? I'm at work. Shen Linlin said that Tan Shehen discovered that Shen Linlin was dressed completely different from that at night. She was wearing a long-sleeved white shirt, blue trousers, an employee number plate on her chest, and sleeves on her hands, which looked like other bank workers at the business counter. The staff are the same and they have been together for so long. Tan Shehen only found out today that Shen Linlin works in a bank. Why are you here? Shen Linlin asked. I work too. Tan Shehen pointed towards the back of the business hall. Shen Linlin was surprised and opened her eyes wide. So, the assistant to the president they were talking about was you. Tan Shehen smiled and nodded. She said let's go and sit in my office. Shen Linlin shook her head and said she was on duty and couldn't leave. As she spoke, she pointed toward the business counter. It seemed that she was working inside the counter. Tan Shehen said yes, come and see me when you are free. I am on the second floor, next to President Mao. Shen Linlin nodded. Tan Shehen and Shen Linlin said goodbye and walked towards the back. Shen Linlin stood there, looking at Tan Shehen's back. She even wanted to die. Tan Shehen, are you my nemesis? Wherever I am, you will. If you follow me wherever you go, you will suppress me. Did I owe you something in my previous life or did I offend you? Shen Linlin stood there, feeling gloomy in her heart and gloomy in her future. Now that Tan Shahan is here, her only shining point and pride in the industry are gone. In the unit's year-end summary, in the section about enriching employees' spare time life, there will no longer be words like Shen Linlin, an employee of this unit, stood out and won the prize in the Sanjiang Cup Young Singer Grand Prix in Hangzhou City. If there is one, it is also Tan Shahan's, not the winning prize, but the first prize. Shen Linlin works conscientiously in the unit and works hard without complaint. She also has an idea that when, because of her singing skills, she can be transferred from the counter in the sales department to the labor union in the back. In several conversations between the president and herself, such intentions have also been expressed. Now, it is said that Tan Shahan is not only the assistant to the president, but also the vice chairman of the labor union. You took away all the dishes on the table by yourself, not even the soup was left. Tan Shahan, you are so cruel. Shen Linlin even wondered if Tan Shahan was transferred to the company on purpose. This smiling tiger, they were together last night. How come you didn't reveal any information about the performance in the cabaret? Tan Shahan walked back to the office, sat down, and was also thinking about Shen Linlin. She was a little strange, why she had known Shen Linlin for so long, and she didn't even know that she worked in a bank. They went to Hangzhou twice to compete, and they still lived there. In the same room, when they are together, they are polite to each other, but there always seems to be a layer between them. The two of them have known each other for so long, but they are actually two familiar strangers. It seems that she has never wanted to understand Shen Linlin's desires more deeply, and Shen Linlin always has such a kind of unfriendly and jealousy in her bones. If Tan Shahan can't even feel this, then she what a fool. Tan Shahan may not know it herself, but sometimes she deliberately expresses friendship, which has a sense of adults not caring about children, and even condescension and charity, that is, you can't help me, okay, I'll let you go for the time being. Meaning, this is a form of contempt, even more hurtful than an angry look. With eyes wide open, people can roar back, but your contempt with a smile makes people angry and curses, but it feels like a lump in the throat, making them half angry, and they can only be angry in their hearts. Tan Shahan also thought about why teacher she was so familiar with ICBC. She knew that they had always been very supportive of employees' participation in these competitions and activities, and would never ask for time off for card holders. Even if you go to compete, they would still count your attendance. They must have been doing this to Shen Linlin. No matter what, Tan Shahan has officially become a member of ICBC, and as soon as she joins, she becomes a middle-level cadre of the bank. After work, Tan Shahan did not go home immediately. Instead, she went to Xinhua bookstore, where there was a counter selling books for self-study exams. Shuijun, a salesperson in the bookstore, knew Tan Shahan. Her family also lived in the dormitory yard of the cultural system. She was also taking the self-study exam, so she knew a lot about the self-study exam. Tan Shahan asked her for advice. On the way here, Tan Shahan was originally I want to take the accounting exam. But Shuijun analyzed it for Tan Shahan and told her, after all, you are not going to the bank counter, so there is no need to take the accounting exam. Based on your current situation, I think you can take the Chinese language and literature major like me, which is also the most popular one. Pass the exam, because if you learn this, your writing ability will increase. In the office, don't you just need to write and juggle? Tan Shahan thought it made sense, so she asked Shuijun to get her a textbook for Chinese language and literature. She saw one of the textbooks, Ancient Chinese, which was all in traditional Chinese characters. Tan Shahan couldn't even guess, not even half a page. Looking at it, she suddenly felt discouraged. Tan Shahan joined the student class of the theater troupe when she was young. The student class also teaches cultural classes, but in the cultural class, all classes are taught by the same teacher. Chinese teaches you to read newspapers and scripts, and mathematics, the highest level the four arithmetic operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Tan Shahen's actual education level is just out of the stage of illiteracy, at most the 4th or 5th grade of elementary school. She doesn't know any traditional Chinese characters or ancient Chinese. She recognizes all as. Xuejun said, "That's it, you might as well learn business management. There is no need to learn Old Chinese for business management. Now that you are sitting in an office, you are not just doing business management work. Learning business management will also improve your work." Tan Shahen made sense after hearing this. Xuejun showed Tan Shahen a set of textbooks on business management. Tan Shahen read it and found that she didn't understand what was said in it. But Tan Shahen thought to herself, isn't it just for you to study to make things better? What you understand turns into understanding. As long as you are learning, there will be nothing simple. Tan Shahen decided to study business management. Xuejun told her that you can register for the self-study exam twice a year. The first half of the year is in May and the second half of the year in November. You can register for up to 4 courses in each major. If you register in the first half of the year, the exam will be in the second half of the year. She will register in the second half of the year. The exam will be in May next year. She will also register in the second half of the year. Then she will call Tan Shahen and go to the county education committee to register together. Xuejun suggested that Tan Shahen, like her, take 2 courses at a time so that her study time is guaranteed. Tan Shahen calculated in her mind, 2 courses at a time, 4 courses a year, all 16 courses, even if she passed every course every time, wouldn't it still take 4 years? She wanted to get a diploma from this college as soon as possible. Why did she wait 4 years? She should still take 4 exams at one time and 8 exams a year. In this way, she could complete the 16 courses in 2 years. Even if she failed, she would have to make up 1 more exam. Years, can we win in 3 years? Are you crazy, Zhen? Xuejun shouted, how can you have so much time when you take 8 exams in 1 year? There will always be time constraints. Besides, if you fail the exam, you can make up for it. What's there to be afraid of? Tan Shahen said with a smile. Well, whatever. Xuejun brought Tan Shahen textbooks and reference materials for 4 courses. These books are very expensive. After calculation, they cost more than 38 yuan. Tan Shahen didn't bring that much money. Xuejun said it's okay. You can take them first. I will give you the rest first. Thank you Lirujin, Ba Liang, and Duzadaddy for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Good evening everyone.